Today I'm going to show you how easy it is to dig out, separate and transplant society garlic. You'll get several new plants out of this one little bush. You can spread it around the garden and grow even more. If you're looking for a tough as nails plant to grow in your subtropical environment, society garlic could be the one you're looking for. It gets these gorgeous little purple flowers, brings in the beneficial insects, is loved by the bees, animals love it, you can eat it. And the leaves. It's got a real, it's like chives, like an oniony chive flavour. I don't know why it's called society garlic. It doesn't really have a garlic flavour. It's more of an onion flavour. It's got a bit of kick to it though. And my beardie, she absolutely loves it as well. She goes nuts over these flowers.
Yum, 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 yum. Yum, 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 yum.
This is definitely worth planting. They can get a pretty massive root ball on them, which is why I like to use a fork to dig them out rather than a shovel. I just find a fork easier for me because it means I don't have to push quite so hard. I'm transplanting this plant today for a few reasons. Partly because it's to a decent size now that I can separate it into several smaller plants and plant them in a different place in the garden. I'm also moving this particular plant because, see these yellow leaves on the bottom? It's because it's just a little bit wet. I've got it planted in a spot in the garden that is quite a low spot, and it just sucks in all the moisture, and it was just getting a little bit too much water. You can see how wet that is. And even though society garlic likes a well-drained soil, you can see that this is still growing really well even in that wet soil. We have had a lot of rain lately and quite a few of my plants are not looking too great because of it. Fortunately, this is one that I can salvage. The first thing I'm going to do is just pull off the excess around the bottom so I can see what I'm working with. And once I separate it out, pull off a bit of extra dirt, you can see what the plant is made of. You can see there's so many little, it's like a little forest, isn't it? Lots and lots of trees in there. Each one of those you can separate into clumps and plant out into a new plant. They're tough as nails. You really can't do a lot of damage to them. Oh gosh. Potted this one up to give to a friend. A lot of people, when they transplant them, I've noticed that they trim these off, and you can do that if you want, depends on where you live, I guess. And I mean, I'm comfortable. I'm just going to leave these like this. They're a healthy plant. They're going into soil that they're familiar with. Like I said at the beginning, they are tough as nails, and I'm just not going to bother trimming them off. I'm just going to stick them in the ground as they are. I've now got all of these plants that I can transplant, and I'm not going to transplant all of them because I'm going to end up with society garlic overtaking my house. I am going to pick the best ones, and I'm going to put them where I know they're going to grow. This is where I'm going to plant them. This section of garden doesn't hold the moisture quite so much, so it's a little bit drier, but there's no chance of them drying out because every day when I fill up the bird bath, I know that the plants will get a drink. Those first few, that's where they got planted, and I planted a couple more just down here. They are in an even drier section of the ground because, as you can see, there are lily pillies and palm trees, and this ground here just gets sucked of any moisture and any nutrients from those big trees, so they will grow there as well. And also, that's my little animal tunnel. I've planted this one here because when it grows, it'll cover up the entrance to the tunnel and make it safe for any little lizards or anything that I've got living in my garden, because I know I've got blue tongues living in the garden, so I like to make a little habitat for them. If you want to survive in my garden, you have to be tough. I don't have time or the physical energy to be fluffing around after pissy little plants that need lots of love and attention. I like native plants that will grow and thrive on their own. Society garlic are one of those little plants. The fact that it's also an edible plant, it brings in the native bees and it's something that my Beardy can eat as well. She can safely eat it. I have checked, so don't anyone yell at me. I have checked. Society garlic is safe for Beardies to eat, and she absolutely loves it. It's a win-win for me. And that's how simple it is to dig up, separate and transplant society garlic. I started with one little plant about this big, and now I have got so many bunches around the garden that are thriving, and I've already cleaned out several times and I throw away the excess. So invest in one plant, look after it, and you'll end up with plants forever. They're a great little plant. I love them, Slumpy loves them, the birds and the bees love them. They look great, they grow anywhere. What more could you want, mate? Seriously. Happy planting. I will see you next time. Bye. Dirt on my head. Dirt on my face.